The Norman Rockwell Museum is located in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, off of Route 20 and close to the Mass Turnpike. The museum exhibits the largest public collections of artwork by Norman Rockwell. Inspired by the legacy of Norman Rockwell, the museum is also dedicated to the advancement of art appreciation and education. The museum preserves, studies, and communicates to a worldwide audience in life, art, and the spirit of Norman Rockwell's work in the field of illustration. Next, we're going to hear a little bit about Norman Rockwell in his own words.
I like to do. I know it isn't the highest form of art. There's no doubt in the world about that, and I know it better than anybody else. I love to tell stories in pictures. The story is the first thing and the last thing. That isn't what a fine art man goes for, but I go for it, and I just love to do it that way, see.
The museum is open year-round, and many of master works by Rockwell, such as Stockbridge Main Street at Christmas, Four Freedoms, and Triple Self-Portrait. Rotating exhibits from the permanent collections and exhibitions of the other works of other illustrators complete the museum's active Boy with a Baby Carriage was the first of 321 Saturday Evening Post covers that Rockwell painted in his 47-year association with the magazine. The fact that one model posed for all three boys shows Rockwell's ability to create distinctive characters. The Runaway was inspired by Rockwell's own experience as a boy in Mamaroneck, New York. Rockwell commented that by setting it at a rural lunch counter, he portrayed the idea that the boy had gotten well out of town before being apprehended. The amused counterman is shown as an understanding, inexperienced type. Rockwell started his career in 1910, and by 1916 he became associated with the Saturday Evening Post. In the next years, he became one of the most successful illustrators in the history of the United States and the world, painting covers of rural America that are exhibited in this museum. Rockwell used his wife, Mary, as the subject in his painting Art Critic, published in 1955 in the Saturday Evening Post. It shows Rockwell's creative process, and it's documented in a series of pencil and oil sketches leading to the completed Post cover. The idea sketch would be followed by a modeling session and gathering of reference material. Studies of composition and color followed. In the final painting, the viewer can see how the idea has evolved. In 1943, Rockwell painted 4 paintings. Due to the fact that we were in the middle of World War II and the heightened patriotism, why our boys were fighting across the oceans. And the 4 paintings were depicting freedoms of speech, freedom to worship, freedom from want, and freedom for fare. In 1943, Rockwell said, "I'll illustrate the 4 freedoms using my Vermont neighbors as models. I'll express the ideas in everyday, simple language and scenes. Freedom of speech, a New England town meeting. Freedom from want, a Thanksgiving dinner. Take them out of the noble language of the proclamation and put them in terms that everyone can understand." Freedom to worship. In 1943, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt said, "I'm grateful for the reproductions of Norman Rockwell's paintings illustrating the 4 freedoms. He has done a superb job in bringing home the plain, everyday truths behind them." In 1943, Ben Hibbs, editor of the Saturday Evening Post, said, "These 4 pictures quickly became the best known and most appreciated paintings of the era. The American people needed the inspirational messages that they conveyed so forcefully and so beautifully." In 1943, someone wrote a letter regarding freedom from fear. "It remained for you to capture the real spirit of the 4 freedoms as it lives in the hearts of plain people of America. Yours is easily the most moving appeal of all the appeals directed at the winning of war, and I'm proud to know the man whose brush is responsible for it." In 1921, Rockwell's "No Swimming" appeared on the Saturday Evening Post cover. Rockwell's depictions of childhood are universally understood and appreciated. With his storytelling ability and technical mastery, viewers can sense both the urgency of flight and the soft texture of the puppy's fur. During his career, Rockwell also did a number of paintings and illustrations for Boy's Life, and I was very familiar with the Boy's Life covers that all of these illustrations appeared on. Stockbridge Main Street at Christmas is an oil-on canvas that appeared on McCall's cover in 1967. This loving portrait of Rockwell's last hometown was begun in the mid-1950s and completed for McCall's magazine in 1967. To modernize the image, dated by its 50s-style automobiles, he added 2 60s-style cars, one entering and one leaving the town. Taking artistic liberty, Rockwell included his own home off Main Street and added Berkshire Hills to the background. "I just love Stockbridge. I mean, Stockbridge is the best of America, the best of New England," Rockwell said. In 1993, the museum moved from Stockbridge Center to its present location on the Linwood Estate. They, in recent years, moved his studio to the estate also. And inside you see the entire premises as it was while Rockwell painted his illustrations. Many of the things are in the same locations as they were during his life. And we see his entire studio as it set back 25 years ago. Here are some of the things that Rockwell collected during his life on his travels. I'd like to thank the Norman Rockwell Museum for the permission to do this video and use some of their material. I really appreciate it, and I hope you appreciated it also. If you like this, click on like and subscribe to me.